Say hello to the 2023 NFC East champs, the second in 3 seasons. The Dallas Cowboys leave Washington with the number 2 seed in the NFC playoffs locked up with guaranteed home field advantage in the wild card and divisional rounds. And head coach Mike McCarthy with 3 12-win seasons, 3 straight in a row, the only and first Cowboys head coach to do that in the Cowboys franchise history. The final in FedEx Field, 38-10, giving the Dallas Cowboys, like I mentioned, home field advantage in both the wild card and divisional rounds. Up first, the Green Bay Packers. We'll get to that later in the show, but let's talk about this Washington matchup in Week 18. Rocky, early on, Washington able to run the ball against this Dallas defense, but listen, this Dallas defense settled in and took care of business like they needed to. The Cowboys offense played lights out, hanging 38 on the Commanders. Every offensive weapon getting their hands in on the win. An off day for Brandon Aubrey, missing 2 field goals. 1 was blocked. But the goal heading in was to dominate on all cylinders, clinch the division, put to bed the road struggles, concerns, and get that home field advantage. The Cowboys understood the assignment. Now bow down to the Kings of the East.
You know, we understand all the narratives around the game, but, you know, frankly, it's still a division game, and that's really was our approach. And, you know, we knew that they were going to throw some things at us. And, you know, you look at the way the game started and, you know, a lot of deceptives and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, when you play division games, it's always a dogfight. So that was our mindset coming in here. We set the goal, you know, way back in April. You know, you magnify it, you know, in training camp. I think everybody does it similarly, but, you know, we understand that the body of work, you know, things that we needed to accomplish during the regular season, you know, we did a good job. I mean, you know, the team should be proud of a 2 seed in the division championship, and because I'm proud of them. But most importantly, it's playoff time, and we need to play our best football. It doesn't matter who we play, where we play them, and that has to be our mindset.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned it weeks ago about running our own race and just focusing on that, controlling what we could control, and we're able to do that. I mean, obviously, the latter part of the year had that stretch there where we didn't handle it the way we would have liked to handle it, losing a couple of road games back-to-back, but getting back home, winning that one, we knew it was important to come back on the road, finish the division, being a road game, understanding what we've been through on the road with importance, with the offense firing, playing complementary football, and in a big game to win the division, secure the 2 seed, and make sure that, as you said, we finish things in our hand, in our way, to our expectations and to our standards. And proud of the guys, proud of the locker room, coaching staff, everybody, organization, of doing just that.
The Cowboys not shying away from what was needed to get done in Week 18 against the Washington Commanders to win the NFC East and get their first road win since Week 11 against the Panthers. We'll talk about how coming up right here on Cowboys Flashback.
Dallas Cowboys Flashback, powered by Reliant, is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, and by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys take the throne for the first time since 2021, taking down the Washington Commanders 38-10 in their own house. And offense this time left no plays off the field. The Cowboys starting guards out of this game. TJ Bass, though, and Brock Hoffman stepped up to the challenge. The O-line kept that clean all night. You got to love to see that. He was only pressured on 16.7 of his snaps. He also completed 86.1% of his passes for 279 yards and 4 touchdowns. Just a year ago, listen, he led the league in interceptions. Now he finishes the regular season as the league's leader in touchdown passes, the first Cowboy to lead the league outright in touchdown passes.
Consistency and work, 2 things that I've believed in. Never shied away from the work, putting the time in, and just going back to just Mike, right, talking about play caller purpose and just the way that he's got these guys, the receivers, the back end, the offensive line, the protection, everybody in sync, and what I'm thinking and what I'm doing, I think is a huge part of that. Coach Robert Prince, the receivers, of staying on his guys, being detailed. Lunda Wells, Blasco and Evan in the run game, and then obviously Solari and Chin Young in the coaching the guys up front, and just everybody understands the purpose of a play, why it's being called, what's expected, and the execution part, and what everybody has to do in their 111th, their job. And for me, it's just about being consistent, not believing anything other than what I believe, and believing in myself and the people that have supported me all the way throughout, from leading the league in interceptions and missing 5 games to being in this point. I talked about it last year. A lot of it's the confidence, the work that I've put into it, to have the confidence and throw into tight windows. And I think if you just go over and look at it, a lot of it is guys expecting it, understanding that ball is coming, and them going and making plays. And then some fortunate bounces have went this way that they didn't go last year. So a lot goes into it. Thankful for those guys, this team, this locker room, the support that I've had all the way through.
Everything worked in the passing game. Of course, CeeDee Lamb caught everything that came his way catching his 14th touchdown of the year. In the run game, had some questions heading into Sunday, but Tony Pollard had answers, running angry and surpassing his 1,000-yard mark of the season.
Yeah, I mean that's a big milestone for us. For me, myself personally, and the O-line. I know they pride themselves in having 1,000-yard back every year, so that was big for us, and to get that momentum going.
And you guys had a bounce back game around from over last week against the Lions. Was there anything different that you guys did in practice? Because it was certainly impressive, especially given that Zach Martin was out in the last second.
I mean, just detailing everything a little bit more, taking our time, being a little bit more patient, detailing things, making sure everybody knew what we had to do, and going out there execute.
And from the Dallas Cowboys defense, you got it all. Stops when they needed them. 3 takeaways and 4 sacks. Deron Bland grabbed his 9th pick to stay the NFL leader in interceptions. Donovan Wilson got in on the interception party as well. But Micah Parsons wasn't pleased about that number 13 next to his sack collection. Well, he did something about it, grabbing his 14th Sunday night, setting a new career best.
Yeah, I prided on myself on being 13, and it just means I'm just getting better and better. I think this year I improved in almost every aspect of my game. Really committed to getting better and coming into better shape and just everything overall. So really happy where I'm at right now, but I'll be really excited if I get to where we're going to.
Micah, you're going to make your 3rd trip to the playoffs. How does this team feel differently from where it's at in the last 2?
I would say we're about the same. We still feel really confident going against the best. It's just all about execution and just being the best on that Sunday.
The first quarter was a little shaky for a little bit of the game, and then all of a sudden you guys turned it on, it seemed. Did you kind of feel everything swing in that moment, or what happened there?
Yeah, they made a great play with the block kick, 10-point swing, and then they end up scoring that possession. So it goes up. So we go from being potentially 10-0 to 7-7, and obviously with the batted ball to interception, they had a momentum, but never in doubt. Wasn't phased. We've been there before. Got some great stops ourselves and takeaways, and was able to make some shape.
The unit held the Commanders to just 20% on 3rd down. That's the 3rd lowest percentage they've held an opponent to this 2023 regular season, all while holding this Commanders team to just 180 total yards of offense. The defense was getting after it. The offense was getting after it. But up next, we've got Kyle Yeomans talking about his hot takes from Week 18 coming up right after the break.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
This is why you play the game, for the playoffs and to get to the bowl. So I'm excited for the opportunity we have. We're going to be at home, so it's going to be exciting.
You gotta love Stephon Gilmore and good spirits despite going down in the 2nd quarter for that shoulder injury. But a lot to be excited about for this Dallas Cowboys team. They're in the playoffs as the number 2 seed for the first time since 1994. We got Kyle Yeomans kicking it with Kyle. The little kick with me. We got Kyle Yeomans in the studio to kind of talk about the season. We got some fun coming up for you a little bit later. But just talking about the way that this season has gone for the Dallas Cowboys, some highs and lows. What are some highs been for you?
Well, it's the way that it ended. I mean, your team finishes at 12-5
Yeah.
for the 3rd straight season, something that Cowboys fans really haven't seen. You want consistency, there's your consistency. It's tough to win 12 games every single year inside the NFL, and the Cowboys have done it on 3 straight occasions. But you finished not only with the 12 wins, but you have the NFL leader in passing touchdowns, a leader in receptions, leader in interceptions, leader in field goal makes, leader in pressures. You end up as a well-rounded football team going into the postseason. For the most part, outside of Trayvon Diggs, Leighton Vander Esch, you're a healthy football team. And of course, knock on wood for that, hopefully nothing else arises before going into the wild card round or during the wild card round. But if you can stay healthy, stay well-rounded, you certainly give yourself a shot. And they did that by ending the season on a high note, winning their final 2 games, taking the division and being the number 2 seed.
You talk about staying healthy, a little bit of a scare going down for Stephon Gilmore, but he seemed like he was excited to be back, hopefully against the Green Bay Packers in the playoff round.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be good to go. That's the number one thing, because Green Bay has a couple of weapons that are on the outside. Christian Watson, who had 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys in the regular season last year. His coming out party was really in Week 10 of 2022 against the Cowboys. Then you've got Romeo Doubs and a couple other guys that Jordan Love has thrown the football to. Dak Prescott, 36 passing touchdowns, leads the NFL. Number 2 on that list is Jordan Love. And, I mean, it's his first year as really the main starter for Green Bay. So if he's in a rhythm, if he's in a bit of a groove, you need a guy like Stephon Gilmore to disrupt that a bit. So having him is huge. It allows for really the same setup defensively, and it looked to be scary. I mean, in the moment, they were holding his arm as he was going to the sideline. It looked like it was really not heading in the right direction. It was great to hear him in good spirits post-game, even Mike McCarthy backing him up, saying, hey, he should be good to go come the wild card round against Green Bay.
Switching gears, I want to talk about this offensive line. No starting guards against Washington. You're out without Tyler Smith and Zach Martin, and then in goes TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman. How happy were you to see those guys kind of really hold down the fort for that offensive line?
Well, it's been a tough battle for this offensive line all year long. I mean, they've had changes at the tackle position, at the guard position, in and out, and you're starting to find 2 guys that you feel comfortable whenever they are put into the fold. I mean, TJ Bass was an undrafted rookie out of Oregon. Sure, he's had some early experience, some early snaps that you didn't necessarily anticipate. Brock Hoffman was taking backup center reps in practice. He was told about 2 hours before the game that you were going to play at right guard in place of the sick Zach Martin. So with those 2 guys going in, you expect maybe a bit of a lapse. Instead, Dak Prescott was not sacked a single time in Week 18, and he was only pressured 16% of his dropbacks. So it was a phenomenal outing from your offensive line against really the strength of Washington. This is not a good Commanders team. We know that already. They finished at just 4 wins, 13 losses. But what they did do well is put pressure on the interior, and they did not get any pressure on Dak Prescott in that offense. It allowed for Tony Pollard to run effectively. It allowed for Dak to find some of his weapons like Lamb and Ferguson and Cooks. It was a phenomenal outing from those 2, and it's something that I think Cowboys fans should be very excited about. Maybe could use some help at the tackle position. There's still some offensive line improvement that could be had, but those 2 in the interior were great.
Hopefully they can carry that over into the game against the Green Bay Packers. But now
as backups, let's hope that's
as backups. Let's hope. Disclaimer. Let's hope they're as backups. But just talking about this fun part now, we got the hot takes. I need your hot take offensively from Week 18.
That was the coming out party for Tony Pollard. That's it. I think Tony Pollard's starting to run with a purpose. He's starting to be more physical. He's starting to run downhill a little bit. Finished with 17 carries, 70 yards. Still that run per average. Not where it was previously for Tony. But I think this was really the beginning. That offensive line, if they can block up front, it doesn't matter if they're playing the Packers, the Lions, the Buccaneers. I don't even care. The Eagles again.
Anybody.
I think they're going to run the football more effectively in the playoffs. It may not be the big stats overall, but it's certainly going to be effective for this offense.
Defensively, real fast.
Ooh, defensively, Micah Parsons is about to get multi-sacks. He's starting to get hungry again.
Okay, well, let's hope this team stays hungry and gets the dub against the Green Bay Packers. We're up next with Savannah Humoiler joining the set right here on Cowboys Flashback.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Just 4 weeks ago, the Dallas Cowboys had just under a 10% chance to win the division. You heard that right, just a 10% chance to win the NFC East, and now they've proved everybody wrong, winning the NFC East and now the number 2 seed heading into the playoffs. Got Savannah Humoiler joined with me on the set to break down who's our key playmakers from Week 18, the 2023 season finale? Savannah, take it away. Who stood out to you the most in Week 18?
NFC East champs. I mean, I'm just so happy we made it to this point. Regular season is over, and now we're into playoffs. Wild card weekend on the horizon. And before we move into the matchup against the Green Bay Packers, I want to highlight an incredible performance by quarterback Dak Prescott, not only against the Commanders, but this regular season as a whole. Dak Prescott is the first quarterback since Troy Aikman to lead the Cowboys to 4 NFC East division titles. On the first drive against the Commanders, Dak was 6 for 6 with 57 yards and a touchdown. That opened up a monster game for Dak the rest of Sunday. 31 of 36 completions, 279 yards, and 1 interception, but of course, 4 touchdowns. Check it out.
On the fake, pressure on Prescott, throws it to the corner, it's caught! Touchdown Dallas, Jalen Tolbert. Cowboys win, they get the 2 seed, first and goal. Prescott, over the middle, it's caught, Lamb! It's in, touchdown!
Dak's 4 touchdown performance marks the 11th game of his career reaching that number, setting a new franchise record. Dak has 4 games with 4 touchdowns this season, the most in the NFL. Now let's talk about his overall touchdowns this season. Last year, Dak led the league in interceptions. This season, he has led the league in passing touchdowns, 36 to be exact. On vertical routes this year, Dak has thrown 23 touchdowns. Now that's the most since Andrew Luck in 2018. He finished the regular season on Sunday with 4,517 yards, 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and is going into the wild card game against Green Bay with a passing rate of 124.4%. You love to see the growth that Dak has had from the beginning of the season early on up into this point. The comfort in the pocket, his ability to scramble, and the ability to get the ball out in those high pressure situations. He will be needing all of that combined in the playoffs. Now, real quick, let's show some love to the Cowboys defense. Deron Bland had his 9th interception of the season against the Commanders and finishes the season leading the league in interceptions. Take a look.
On first down, Powell some pressure, lets it go. McLaurin is deep, it's underthrown, it's intercepted. Deron Bland has another, his league-leading 9th of the year.
Bland has now tied Trayvon Diggs with 14 career interceptions and is trailing Cowboys legend Everson Walls with 18. Nicole, lots of positives going into a home playoff game this coming weekend.
And it was crazy because in Washington, you can hear that cadence, that here we go cadence. It kind of felt like a home game, but now we get to hear that here we go again in AT&T Stadium. But here we're going to wrap things up on Cowboys Flashback right after the break.
Dallas Cowboys Flashback, powered by Reliant, was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, and by Reliant, an NRG company.
Cowboys Nation, stand up. We've got playoff football upon us, and you better come icy to AT&T Stadium, decked out in your all-white, because it is an all-white game at home this Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. We got to rep, obviously, right? Come down repping and dripped out in your icy. The Cowboys have wrapped up the 2023 regular season as the NFC East title champs. Dak Prescott, though, made it clear he's not satisfied with just that. He didn't even rock the It's a Lock hat and shirt post game. He said he and this team want more. So now they have a chance to get more starting this Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. Let's go ahead and take a look at this NFC playoff picture. The Cowboys taking on the number 7 seed, the Green Bay Packers. You have the Detroit Lions as the number 3 seed, and they're taking on the Rams as the number 6 seed. Forgot to mention, of course, the 49ers will have a first round bye as the number 1 seed. Then you have the number 4 seed, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. But now we've got to talk about this Green Bay Packers team, right? This is a team that Dak Prescott has not had a lot of success since his rookie season. He's 1-3 versus Green Bay since his rookie season. That year in 2016, he did get the best of Green Bay, but the rest of those years in 2017, 2019, and 2022 as of last season. The Green Bay Packers got the best of the Dallas Cowboys, but now the slate's wiped clean. The Dallas Cowboys look to start their road to playoff redemption this Sunday, having been bounced from the wild card or divisional round since their 1995 Super Bowl win. Two of the most historic NFL franchises going after it. Head coach Mike McCarthy coaching against his former team. AT&T Stadium, here we come. It's going to be so much fun. Cowboys Nation, don't forget to come out decked out in your all white.